What is going on, guys? The Inside the Blue podcast, and today we have our weekly picks. Apologies for getting this one out late. It's a Wednesday night, trying to get it in before Thursday, but we got a lot of picks. We got a lot of stuff to get done. I've been trying to change up content. I know it's been kind of the same stuff lately, so I'm trying to figure out a different type of videos, whether it's a ranking list or a tier list, all that type of stuff. So we got a lot of different stuff coming out. I have a lot more time. I don't have school or anything. But getting into our Week 16 slate, we're almost done with the regular season. We're gonna have a playoff prediction of who I think is gonna win the Super Bowl and who's gonna be the NFC and AFC representers. But the Denver Broncos going into LA, big matchup for both of these teams. If the Chargers win, they're 9-6. If the Broncos win, they're 10-5. Regardless, I think both of these teams do have a good chance in making the playoffs. I think I really like what Bo Nix has done for the Denver Broncos. And for the Chargers, a big bounce-back year. Jim Harbaugh comes in. The offense looks better. Ladd McConkey looks good, but he's been hurt lately. And overall, I think the Chargers, I think this is going to be a win for them. I think it's going to be a very close game. But I think the Chargers do get this one done. Now another tough selection. I know a lot of people were kind of concerned with Patrick Mahomes' health at the end of the game last week against the Cleveland Browns. He had that injury. But overall, this team is really freaking good. They've had one loss, and now it's to the Buffalo Bills. Do I think there's an upset spot? Absolutely. But I think just the Kansas City Chiefs are just such a good team. And I know they don't have they have the team. That's what I'm trying to get to. They have the team. I could sugarcoat it and say, hey, maybe the Texans have a chance. I've rarely went against the Chiefs ever, and we're gonna continue that. And I think they're gonna win this football game. Getting into another game. Pittsburgh against Baltimore. Pittsburgh getting the crap kicked out of them in Philadelphia. Tough game. Baltimore just putting up a ton of touchdowns against the New York Giants. Not impressive, but Lamar Jackson did it. Pittsburgh has had Baltimore's number. And I don't know how to feel about both of these teams. I think the Pittsburgh offense is a concern. I know they have 10-4. Russell Wilson's playing pretty good quarterback, and Lamar Jackson's playing like a good, that elite quarterback that he is. But to me, I'm gonna take the Pittsburgh Steelers as an upset on this one. Not saying the Baltimore Ravens aren't a good football team. I just think Pittsburgh just has had their number lately a lot in the recent matchups. And why not take a dog? Not really a dog, but let's take an away team. Let's make this fun. But if there's an away team that I'm not going to select, that's the New York Giants. I know the Atlanta Falcons kind of had a hiccup, and now Kirk Cousins isn't even the starter. They're going to Michael Penix Jr., a rookie out of Washington that a lot of people were very shocked at the pick in the draft. They thought they would go maybe defense. Latu, Dallas Turner was there. And they go with the quarterback. And then it's like, what is the future with Kirk Cousins? Is this the guy that we want? And now they bench him because he hasn't been playing good football. Offense hasn't been doing what they're supposed to do. And on paper, they're a pretty decent unit, right? You got Bijan Robinson in the backfield. You got Drake London, a good wide receiver, who scored a touchdown last week. Kyle Pitts, make it how you want. He's a decent tight end. The potential maybe is there, but not sure. But a team that needs to continue to win, that's the Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns stink. I don't expect them to be good at all for the rest of the year. I don't really expect them to win another football game. But getting into our next slate, another two very easy selections. Arizona Cardinals against the Carolina Panthers. The record doesn't show the Carolina Panthers' improvement, right? They had an improvement against the Kansas City Chiefs. They kept that game close. They kept it close against the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Carolina Panthers, I think, have a pretty decent future with Bryce Young. But Arizona, they know that they need to win games more than ever if they even want to have a sniff of the playoffs. As of right now, if they won this game, I'd still have to do the calculations for other teams. But it looks like they wouldn't still be in the playoffs with 8 wins because the Texans and Ravens are 9-win teams, along with the Broncos and Chargers, assuming everything goes correctly. Despite all the injuries for the Detroit Lions, they still have Amon-Ra. They still have Jahmyr Gibbs. They still have Jared Goff. They still have a good enough offensive line and okay defense. But Caleb Williams showed me that if he can't do it against the Vikings, he definitely can't do it against the Detroit Lions. And I know they have like 14 injuries, and David Montgomery's out for the year. So any Jahmyr Gibbs fantasy owners are saying, thank gosh, Jahmyr Gibbs can potentially get me to a championship. But David Montgomery, prayers, let's hope he's okay. But getting into another game that's like, ew. That is the Indianapolis Colts against the Tennessee Titans. Don't really know how this one goes. Anthony Richardson is not great. They sold the game against the Broncos. They had him winning for a while. Bo Nix threw 3 interceptions, right? Didn't have a good game. And they ultimately lost the football game because of major errors. But these next upcoming games, for the most part, are kind of difficult to pick. Besides the Rams defeating the Jets, the Jets are just not a good football team. Overall, in my opinion, I like the Rams are red hot. They just beat up a bad San Francisco 49ers team, who is, if they lose against the Miami Dolphins, they're on pace to go under 500 after just making the Super Bowl. So that's a bit of a concern. Philadelphia Eagles. They seem like that team again that made it to the Super Bowl. Just a dominant football team. Saquon Barkley. As much as I like the Washington Commanders' improvement this year, you just can't go against the Philadelphia Eagles. Really, whoever they play. Not many teams that if they went head to head, I'm picking against the. I'm not picking against them. But getting into our next slate of games, final slate of games, Minnesota. Sam Darnold's cooking. Justin Jefferson's cooking. Addison was great last week. Aaron Jones continues to dethrone the Bears. Seattle doesn't have it, I don't think. I don't think Seattle has what it takes. They just lost big to the Green Bay Packers. Geno Smith is banged up, I believe. But, yeah. Minnesota winning that football game. We got the Tank Bowl. Jacksonville against the Las Vegas Raiders. Does any of these teams want to win? Hell no. With the Raiders, they know that they can't win this football game. The Jacksonville Jaguars know that they can't win this football game. But we're going to take the Raiders to spice things up. Both teams 3-12. Both teams are terrible. That's the bottom line. Whatever quarterback is in for the Las Vegas Raiders, it doesn't matter. Maybe they get Shadur. I'm not sure. Divisional matchup here. Bills taking on the New England Patriots. Josh Allen by 1 million. Josh Allen's the MVP of this year. There's really no other debate, in my opinion, except for maybe Saquon Barkley and Lamar Jackson. It's got to be, it has to be Josh Allen. Josh Allen took a Bills team that was in a retool and took them to an eventual 12-3 if they win this week. Miami taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams do not know how to win football games. They're 6-8, and if you told me that at the start of the year, I'd call you maybe crazy. Tough game to predict, but I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins at the home turf. Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill. Not an easy game to pick, but ultimately I have the Miami Dolphins. And then I'm going to go with the Bucs against the Dallas Cowboys. Baker Mayfield has that team rolling. Mike Evans knows that he wants to break this receiving record of 1,000 yards and try and catch Jerry Rice. Dallas, they've gotten some good wins, but they've also lost some games. Sure, they beat the Carolina Panthers. I don't know why they were favored. Don't know why we picked them last week, the Carolina Panthers. But to wrap this one up, pretty easy selection. That's the Green Bay Packers defeating the Saints on Monday Night Football. And we're pretty mixed off in terms of home and away. Not like a real. I think the streak we had was 3 teams. Yeah, 3 teams home and away. But that's gonna do it. Weekly picks are up. Let's do well this week. And apologies for a late upload. I apologize again. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the Inside the Blue podcast. I'm your host, Vin. And as always, stay safe out there. Subscribe, like this video, and let me know below where your picks are. Peace.